Hey everyone, Mike Miller with the Herald Times, joined by IU basketball columnist Jeremy Price, coming to you from a confetti-laden Mackey Arena. There's confetti everywhere. There's a little bit right there too. Whatever.
Yay!
86-75, the final score. Purdue clinches at least a share of the Big Ten title. They'll have a chance to win it outright. Where are they? Northwestern. They got Northwestern here.
No, it's at Northwestern.
At Northwestern. Yeah. Either way, they brought out the Big Ten trophy tonight. Obviously, dropped the confetti. Basically, a year ago, this was Indiana, but here was Purdue tonight taking the title that Indiana claimed a year ago in Iowa by beating Indiana here in front of a raucous Mackey Arena. This place was rocking from the earliest moments. As soon as they let the students in, this place was it was hopping. So you expect that, and I'm not sure what you really expect out of Indiana at this point. More or less the same team we've seen: mistake-prone, sloppy, can't get to the foul line, can't get fouled. That was a huge discrepancy. We'll get into that momentarily. Foul trouble, obviously, on the other end of it. Thomas Bryant, both he and Deron Davis fouled out. This is not a winning effort from Indiana. Not a game that they really had much of a shot in, given all the things that went wrong.
Right, and like you said, it's kind of one of those nights where nothing really surprised you a whole lot by the way things went. If anything, the only thing that was surprising is the way that Indiana was actually able to fight back on a couple occasions when they were on the verge of really getting blown out in ugly fashion. The fact that they were able to stay in it and kind of make something of this game was probably the most surprising part, truth be told. Otherwise, it was kind of just like every other game that we've talked about for weeks and months now, pretty much.
Yeah, no, I didn't learn anything new about this team except for the fact that really you didn't. This was the same exact team that we've seen the last few months, just a flawed, broken, disconnected team. The only thing we learned was that Tim Priller is capable of giving Indiana some decent minutes.
Yeah.
Second straight game, he's actually played meaningful minutes, and obviously given the foul situation tonight with Bryant and Davis, they needed him for what did he play, like 9 minutes or 5 minutes?
5, yeah. It was a long 5 minutes.
It was a very long 5 minutes, mostly because I think everyone follows Indiana in this building was watching every move Tim Priller made.
Yeah.
Because you didn't expect that.
No, and I think, before we go on a little further, let's not oversell this and think that Tim Priller should be playing 15 minutes a game necessarily. He's a guy that works best in short bursts, that 2 to 3 minutes here and there. But what he's showed is a guy that's, ready when his time comes. He knows his limitations. He knows what he's going to do. And most of all, I just love the fact that he's got that selflessness about him. He's not out there about Tim Priller. He's out there just doing whatever he can to help this team. And he knows that probably him jacking up shots left and right is not the ticket for this team. But he also knows that him setting picks left and right is the ticket for this team. And so it's fascinating to watch a guy go out there and set 4 picks on one possession. He finished with 6 points tonight, which was a surprise in and of itself. Had a nice baby hook, had a layup on the pick and roll, made a couple of free throws, and committed 4 fouls, which is really not a surprise because
kind of what he was.
Defense is where a guy like Tim Priller is going to struggle. But as basically the third string center at this point, that's your job. You go in, you commit fouls, you don't allow layups, you set some picks, and if you score some points along the way, fantastic. And
you know what? Most impressive of that was not even the stat line, the fact that he actually played well enough to make Purdue boo him as he came out of the game. I think that came after who did he hit? It was fouled Swanigan, didn't he?
Yeah, nice foul on Swanigan.
Didn't like that here.
The only moment that was really a missed opportunity was when Tim Priller was posting up against Caleb Swanigan, and IU failed to get him the ball. That was the matchup we all came here tonight to see, and it didn't happen. Boo.
This is a weird season. I got nothing else. This is a weird season. I can't believe we saw Tim Priller posting up Caleb Swanigan and Mackey Arena in the second half of this game. What the hell?
Other than that, I guess other things we didn't expect to see tonight. Freddie McSwain making his first career start at Purdue.
That didn't really.
It didn't really go well.
It didn't work really well at all. You know what? I think Freddie McSwain's actually given this team some decent minutes, kind of in short bursts over the last 2-3 weeks, really. That I think Tom Crean's attributed to him kind of settling in a little more, also getting healthier as he kind of recovers from the preseason stuff he was dealing with. But
and same thing. I give Freddie McSwain credit. He's not out there trying to do too much or make a name for himself. He's just trying to do the things that he does well, which is grab some offensive rebounds, play some defense. He started out tonight guarding Swanigan. I think that was kind of the whole idea in putting him in there, but it didn't didn't really work out. He picked up some early fouls, and away we went. And that brings us to the foul situation, which was probably the other highlight of the night.
Yeah, Tom Creed wouldn't go there. He would not discuss that at all in his post-game remarks. Actively avoided it. Josh Newkirk went there. He said, we were getting fouled. They just weren't calling them, something along those lines.
Yeah.
Went about the 11:02 mark, 11:05 mark is when the second half is when they had their first free throws. It was just, it's, you got it.
Yeah. So Indiana actually, even though they didn't shoot at a free throw until 11 minutes left in the game, actually wound up 13 of 17 at the free throw line. So once we got that parade going there in the second half, but Purdue shot 33 free throws tonight. Fouled out Deron Davis, fouled out Thomas Bryant, and if Tim Priller had played but a minute more, he would have joined them in the foul-out parade, I believe.
Yeah.
And Freddie McSwain finished with 4, too, so he was also in danger of being disqualified. But, I kind of have mixed feelings on that. I kind of see where they're coming from on one point. Feel like, man, we're getting all these calls against us, and we're not getting any calls. At the other end of the spectrum, you see the way Indiana plays defense, and you go, well, that's not a surprise that they're committing fouls because they're putting themselves constantly in a bad position to get these foul calls. So, when you're getting dribble penetration from the guards, when you're getting deep post position, those kind of things, it just kind of lends itself to that. And then, some of them come on the rebounds, and which Indiana was fighting on the glass tonight. I give them some credit. I don't know what did it wind up. Indiana won the rebounding battle, 35-29. So, good on them for that. But overall, just more of the same old, same old.
Yeah, I mean, Dakota Mathias was apparently, objective number 1 in their film review, and scored 17 of his 19 points in the first half. I was like, what are you watching? Yeah. I mean, he was unguarded for long stretches. It was just kind of a joke, frankly, watching that happen, especially knowing now that he was objective number 1 in the last couple days of their film review. So, whatever. I'm sorry. What do you say?
It's exactly where we're at with this team right now. It's maddening. Anytime anybody repeats the same mistakes over and over and over again, anytime somebody tells you that so-and-so was the number 1 prospect on the scouting report, or we thought that he was the key to stopping their team, and he goes for 17 points.
In the first half.
Yeah, in the first half. And, I thought Indiana did a pretty good job on Swanigan, at least in the first half, by and large. I think he have 6 at halftime,
Something like that.
6 points, 4 rebounds, pretty low-key for him. Still finished with a double-double, 21 and 10.
He's going to do that.
But, you see the same mistakes. You see dumb passes that are just really, what are you looking at? What are you thinking about? You see defensive breakdowns that are, what are you looking at? What are you thinking about? And you see fouls that are the same thing. You see not following the scouting reports, that's the same thing. On and on and on and on it goes. I mean, that's why tonight I wrote about Tim Priller, because if Indiana had more guys with a Tim Priller mindset, maybe things would be a little bit different. But it just doesn't seem possible at this point for this team to flip the switch.
No.
I mean, I think that would be more shocking than anything that's happened yet this season if they somehow flip the switch in the next week or so.
Yeah, at this point, that's what it is. I mean, we go from here to Ohio State Saturday afternoon, and from there, very much looking probably like a Wednesday start to the Big Ten tournament, at which point they'd need 5 wins in 5 days to have any shot of an NCAA tournament hopes. And even then, you're still kind of playing yourself into the NIT. So
yeah, well, Purdue fans were chanting NIT tonight, and that might have been generous because, I mean, Indiana's got to find a couple of wins to even be in the discussion for NIT. You got to win at Ohio State. You got to win that first game of the Big Ten tournament, and then see what happens. But Indiana is, I think, most of the latest NIT bracketology has Indiana somewhere in like the 4 seed range or something, which is almost exactly where they were in 2014 before they stumbled down the stretch, lost to Illinois in the Big Ten tournament, and wound up not making the NIT.
Yeah, so there will actually be, keeping an eye on some of these lower conferences, the conference tournaments coming up. There's actually some stuff to pay attention to there, just seeing who gets the automatic bids at that level. And
so if you want to see Indiana in the NIT, you're rooting for the favorites.
Yeah.
If you don't want to see Indiana in the NIT, then you want upsets galore, lots of automatic bids for mid-majors, and sayonara, Indiana.
What do you want?
Yeah.
What do you want?
Think about that for the next few days. Or don't.
Or don't. Yeah.
I'm not. We're going to think about going home.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
See you guys.